Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. We are on the record. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd day of March in the year 2022. This is a Jersey City Council meeting of the, this is a City Council meeting of the city. Wow, I am so not here today. Let's start that again. This is a City Council meeting of the Jersey City Municipal Council. We had a scheduled 6 p.m. start. The clock on my cell phone is showing 6:06 p.m. May we have a roll call for the commencement of this meeting? Councilperson Ridley.
Here.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Here.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Here.
Councilperson Solomon.
Here.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Here.
Councilperson DeGise.
Here.
Councilperson Rivera. Absent, okay. And Council President Waterman.
Here.
We have 8 council members in attendance at 6:06 p.m. May we kindly rise for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Kindly remain standing as we salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. On behalf of Council President Waterman, in accordance with the New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, Chapter 231, the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the posting on the bulletin board of the first floor of City Hall, the annual notice, which is the schedule of meetings and caucuses of the Municipal Council for the calendar year 2022, and filed in the office of the City Clerk on Thursday, October 28th, 2021. In addition, at its time of its preparation, the agenda of this meeting was similarly disseminated on Friday, March 18th, 2022 at 4 p.m. to the Municipal Council, Mayor, Business Administrator, Corporation Council, and the local newspapers, and posted on the city's website so I can certify as to our total compliance with the Sunshine Law. Okay, council members, before we move on to our regular order of business, we just have one item to take care of. And at the caucus, we spoke about the amendments to the Water Street redevelopment plan. So item 3.5, which is indicated as a late item, City Ordinance 22-035, is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Water Street redevelopment plan regarding property located at Block 20701, Lots 4 and 5, and Block 20704, Lots 1 and 2.
Motion to amend the agenda.
Thank you, Councilperson Saleh. I'll hold that. At the caucus, we spoke about this. We had the attorney for the developer, Jim McCann, spoke about it in length. Unfortunately, I posted the incorrect ordinance when I published the agenda after the caucus, so we do have the correct ordinance now on the agenda. So we have a motion by Councilperson Saleh to add item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-035 to the agenda. May I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Council President Waterman. On the motion to add item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-035 to the agenda, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Aye. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
Council President, Councilperson Rivera will be absent for the length of the meeting?
Correct.
Okay. I will not call his name. And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to add item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-035 to the agenda. Council members, if you would allow me to read the first readings into the record, please indulge me here. Item 3.1, City Ordinance 22-031 is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the Powerhouse Arts District redevelopment plan regarding the addition of a conditional permitted use. Item 3.2, City Ordinance 22-032 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 3, Parking, Standing, and Stopping amending Section 332-24, no parking certain hours on Kearney Avenue in front of 4 Jackson Square. Item 3.3, City Ordinance 22-033 is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 53, Personnel of the Jersey City Municipal Code to require veterans seeking employment as sworn officers in the divisions of police or fire need only to demonstrate a bona fide domicile in the city of Jersey City for at least 1 year prior to the date of their qualifying exam. Councilperson Solomon, we added the definition of a veteran to the agenda because it really wouldn't be an amendment. It's just an add-on because we haven't taken any action yet on the ordinance. So I put that amendment in italics so everyone knows that the definition has been added to the ordinance.
Great. Thank you, Clerk.
Welcome. Item 3.4, City Ordinance 22-034 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey, providing for various capital improvements for the City of Jersey City and appropriating $131 million, therefore, and providing for the issuance of $124,450,000 in general improvement bonds or notes of the City of Jersey City to finance the same. And last but not least, item 3.5, City Ordinance 22-035 is an ordinance adopting amendments to the Water Street redevelopment plan regarding property located at Block 20701, lots 4 and 5, and Block 20704, lots 1 and 2. Council members, I'm going to be taking a vote on items 3.1 through 3.5. Councilperson Ridley.
Clerk, on 3.3, I know you mentioned that we made that amendment. Can we discuss why that change was made? Why are we going from, I guess, honorably discharged to not specifying honorably discharged veterans?
Sure. Thanks, Councilwoman. Councilman Rivera brought it up at the caucus. He said, what if someone is medically separated from the armed services? And so I went back to the law department and clarified, and then we reached out to Director Foster in Veterans Affairs to go through the different types of discharges. And what she sort of said to us is there's a debate in the veterans community for different things, but the general recommendation is that anyone who qualifies for veterans benefits is the recommended definition, because that would include someone who left for medical reasons. And obviously, if you're in the service and for medical reasons you left, you still have the issue of not being able to establish domicile. But it obviously excludes folks who are dishonorably discharged or in other ways sort of would not have sort of completed their military service honorably.
Denise, in other words, you have to be honorably discharged, and he's right.
Okay. All right. I'm going to vote aye for introduction for all, and then James, I'll talk to you offline. I had some conversations with Veteran Affairs and Councilman Rivera, so I just want to make sure that we get that wording correct.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for introduction.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye for introduction, and Denise, you should have received something from the Veterans Administration on that.
No, she didn't, because she asked, I didn't see it.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye for introduction.
Items 3.1 through 3.5 are introduced 8-0, with Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, on to our second reading ordinances. Our first ordinance is item 4.1, City Ordinance 22-020, is an ordinance amending Chapter 296, Streets and Sidewalks and Public Rights of Way, and Chapter 160, Fees and Charges, Section JJ, Streets and Sidewalks and Public Rights of Way of the Jersey City Municipal Code. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up and state your name for the record. Okay, I seen Gene Daly. Just give me 1 second while I set your timer. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening. Yes, I have been watching and looking at the different type of structures that are being built here. And yes, I do know this is just about the fees, and we're doing it for that specific reason. However, when I see the fee structure, it's only for years, like per year. The question that I have is that I've seen some of these parklets, per se, not being used in the wintertime. I've seen garbage being placed on there and just left there as a storage area. So I really wish we could have some type of proof of use. If you're not using this, you're taking up parking spaces, which I know some people don't like that argument. But the fact is, it does not help the community, because when you have all the snow that needs to be pushed to a corner or something, these parklets are taking them up. And if they're not being used, they should not be permitted. So I do believe, and I wish we had some type of proof of use. Other issues that I do believe, I hope will be addressed in the future, would be having a standardized size instead of them being, for 16 tables or 16-person tables. We did it by dimension. This way we could have just simple dimensions. If you're 8 foot by 10 foot, this is the dimension, and this is the price you pay. I also am questioning the fact that if someone has an outdoor license for a sidewalk and they already have that cafe license, should they be permitted to have a parklet? This is just something I've thought of. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. But beyond that, there's also an issue which I wish could be related to the fee structure, is that some of these parklets go far beyond the width of the establishment in which they're placed. They can go around the corner, they can go several parking lots long, and I think this is a disadvantage. I don't think it's fair to the community, and especially in the wintertime when they're not being used. Thanks.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on Ordinance 22-020. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion made by Council President Waterman. May I have a second to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-020?
Borgiano.
Rich.
Second.
Second was made by Councilperson Baggiano. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-020, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-020 with Councilperson Rivera absent. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-020, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-020 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Next, we have item 4.2, City Ordinance 22-024. It's an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City adopting amendments to the Harson's Cove Station Redevelopment Plan to alter the regulating plan maps and street sections, as well as the intensity summary tables of the West Neighborhood District. Council members, as discussed in the caucus, I believe it is the council's intention to carry this ordinance to the April 13th council meeting.
Correct, yep.
So may I have a motion to carry City Ordinance 22-024 to the April 13th, 2022 council meeting?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Solomon. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Saleh. On the motion to carry City Ordinance 22-024 to the April 13th, 2022 Municipal Council meeting, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to carry City Ordinance 22-024 to the April 13th, 2022 Municipal Council meeting. Okay. On to our next ordinance. Item 4.3, City Ordinance 22-025 is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank calendar for the year 2022. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion made by Council President Waterman to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-025. May I have a second?
Second. Ridley.
Thank you. Second made by Councilperson Ridley. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-025, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-025. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-025, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-025 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. On to our next second reading ordinance, item 4.4, City Ordinance 22-026 is an ordinance amending Chapter 148 discrimination to include a pay transparency regulation for the Jersey City employers in the Jersey City Municipal Code. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record. And I see approaching to the podium is Shannon Dwyer. Shannon, just give me one moment as I start your time. You'll be going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I am a council intern for Ward D. My family has broad roots supporting community development issues in Jersey City. I am thankful to Councilman Saleh for giving me the opportunity to continue this tradition by doing research to amend Chapter 148 to include a pay transparency regulation for Jersey City employers in the City Municipal Code, which will help eliminate the gender pay gap. I would also like to thank the entire City Council who moved the ordinance for adoption, and in particular to Council President Waterman, Councilman at Large DeGise, Councilman Prinzary, and Councilwoman Ridley for their advocacy of Councilman Saleh's sponsorship. According to the National Committee on Pay Equity and the Pew Research Center, women earn less on average than men, and they must work longer for the same amount of pay. According to one report, up to 42 days more than men, and there is evidence that this disparity increased during the pandemic. It is appropriate that this ordinance is being voted on during Women's History Month, and to take this opportunity to recognize an historical Jersey City Congresswoman, Mary T. Norton, also known as Battling Mary, who prioritized policies to improve working conditions across the country, and who once introduced a bill that declared it is the policy of the United States that in law and its administration that no distinctions on the basis of sex shall be made. And she also fought for equal pay for women laborers. With your affirmative vote, you two are creating history and adding a chapter to the story of equality and equity for women in the workplace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-026. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-026 was made by Council President Waterman. Before I ask for the second, let me change the cameras so I can try to see who's going to give me the second. And may I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilperson DeGise.
Yeah.
I'm getting it. All right. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-026, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-026 for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-026. Councilperson Ridley.
First, I just want to thank Councilman Saleh for being an ally of women. Thank you very much, and you better be with all the sisters that you have. But I want to say that this is a very important step, and as was mentioned, this is Women's History Month, and even if it's not, this is very important to assist with some of the inequalities that women face. And so I'm happy that this is moving forward and that we're supporting it. The women on the council are supporting it along with Councilman Saleh. So with that, I vote aye.
Thank you. Councilperson Prinzary.
So, Councilman Saleh, thank you for hiring great interns, like Ms. Dwyer here. Shannon, thank you for bringing this to Councilman Saleh and to the councilman for reaching out to his council colleagues to co-sponsor. It's important to always be reminded that no matter how much work has been done, there's always more work to do until there is equity among, everyone that's working here in Jersey City. And, my mother-in-law is smiling down on you right now, so thank you.
Councilperson Baggiano.
I vote aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
I want to thank my intern, Shannon Dwyer, for all her hard work and research, and also Elizabeth Barno with the Law Department for putting the statute together, and the councilwomen on the city council who supported this. And literally, I was just a vessel, and most of the work was done by women, so I just want to put that on the record, and really appreciate all of us working together to get this done. And with that, I vote aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Great job by all involved. I vote aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Great job by all. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Ms. Dwyer, the mother of the Irish Jog of the Year. I have to always point that out. It's sad that we need a clause like this, but it will greatly help the women and men of Jersey City and hopefully eliminate a pay gap. So I vote aye.
And Council President Waterman.
First of all, I would like to thank Councilman Saleh for just putting it forth, but I know it was your interns, and we do thank you, Shannon, for your research and all those who were involved in it. It's important that women get credit. That's what this is really all about, to be perfectly honest. And what makes it even better when you have men that will stand beside you and support you, because you really can't do it alone. I have a quote from a man, Daniel Craig, and we know him as 007, all right? And he says, "A man is still likely to earn more money than a woman, even when doing the same job. You have a far better chance of entering politics, political office, or becoming a company director. Women are responsible for 2/3 of the work done worldwide, yet earn only 10%, and women of color earn even less of total income, and they only own 1% of property. So, we still have to keep fighting. Until we can say yes to equality, we must continue to keep asking." And so with that, I vote aye, and we will continue to make sure that women get equal pay. It's so important.
Thank you very much. City Ordinance 22-026 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Council members, if you don't mind me saying, this was Shannon Dwyer's first time speaking at a city council meeting, and I just wanted to give her big kudos for doing a great job. So, good job. Public speaking is not an easy thing to do. All right, next is item 4.5, City Ordinance 22-027 is an ordinance supplementing Chapter 332, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Parking for the Disabled of the Jersey City Code, designating a reserved parking space at various locations throughout the city. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion made by Council President Waterman to close the public hearing
Second.
on City Ordinance 22-027, and I believe the second was made by Councilperson Prince Airy with the assist of my court reporter. I'm not going to give credit where I have to give credit where credit's due, especially after the previous ordinance was passed. So on the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-027, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-027. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-027, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prince Airy.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-027 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. On to our next ordinance, item 4.6, City Ordinance 22-028 is an ordinance of the City of Jersey City in the County of Hudson, New Jersey, establishing Chapter 135 to create a permit requirement to operate a crane. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, come up to the podium and state your name for the record. And I see Gene Daly. Just give me 1 second, Gene. Okay, we're going to start your time. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yes, I'm assuming this permit is, one must have the state appropriate licenses or the international union in order to operate the crane, which is commendable and needs to be done. I do know the operators union also deals with the lifts that go, like the elevators that bring all the workers from the ground floor all the way up to the top. That is controlled by the operators union. And I don't know if this requirement is going to extend to that, or is it just going to be solely meant for the crane operators themselves? Thank you.
Okay, this is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-028. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please state your name for the record.
How are you? Chris Lalvey, Operating Engineers, Local 825.
I didn't get your first name, sorry.
Chris.
Chris?
Lalevee.
I'm so sorry. L-A?
L-E-V like Victor, E-E.
E-E?
2 E's, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Your time is going to start on my countdown as soon as I reset the clock. And you're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Just wanted to say, Council President Waterman, members of the City Council, thank you very much for listening to this and putting this into effect. What this does is this lets the City of Jersey City know that the cranes that you see around the city are inspected yearly by law, that is a state law, and that the operator in that station has his state license, his federal license, and his medical certificate, which is required by law. It's a great thing. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. To Ms. Daly's question, we do not control those. I wish we did. We used to. And that's something else to be talked about at another time. But thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, this is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-028. Any other member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Okay. Second. Motion was made by Council President Waterman, and I heard a second by Councilperson Baggiano. Yes, you did. To close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-028, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-028. For final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-028, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
First, I want to commend Chris for his advocacy for this. This has been a long time coming. I know he's been advocating for this to happen, so Chris, job well done, because I know you've been advocating for this for a while. So with that, I vote aye.
City Ordinance is adopted, City Ordinance 22-028 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, next is item 4.7, City Ordinance 22-029 is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Jersey City vacating a portion of Commercial Street from the intersection of Cape and Point Avenue and the New Jersey Turnpike overpass. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium and state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion made by oops, I forgot to reset that. I apologize. Oof. Where's my deputy? Okay. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-029 was made by Council President Waterman. May I have a second?
DeGise.
Okay, thank you, I didn't hear that. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-029, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Council members, as discussed at the caucus, notices need to be sent out to all the property owners within a 200-foot radius. So with that being said, until that notice goes out, may I have a motion to table City Ordinance 22-029 after the close of the public hearing?
Motion.
Motion made by Councilperson Prinzary. May I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to give that to Councilperson Ridley with the assist of my court reporter. On the motion to table City Ordinance 22-029 after the close of the public hearing, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to table City Ordinance 22-029 after the close of the public hearing. Okay, on to our last second reading ordinance, item 4.8, City Ordinance 22-030 is an ordinance reappropriating $11,290,625.16 of proceeds of obligations not needed for their original purposes in order to provide various capital improvements in and by the City of Jersey City and the County of Hudson, New Jersey. This is a public hearing on this ordinance. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up and state your name for the record. And I see Jean Daly. Okay, Jean, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you. I didn't get a chance to go through all the bonds that were now contributing to this lump sum of over $11 million. But typically a bond is issued for specific reasons, for specific projects, and the money is not supposed to be diverted elsewhere. Was there due diligence done on making sure that these particular components or overages are permitted to be spent in other fashions? I also read in the ordinance that the funds are going to be used towards public buildings, or are these buildings owned by the city? It didn't seem very clear to me, the language, and I was hoping someone could clarify how these funds are now going to be used. Thanks.
Thank you, Jean.
This is still a public hearing on City Ordinance 22-030. Any member of the public wishing to be heard, please come up to the podium, state your name for the record.
Motion.
Motion made by Council President Waterman to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-030. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-030, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 to close the public hearing on City Ordinance 22-030 for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-030. Councilperson Ridley.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize to interrupt. So for the administration, we got some information before the meeting. I just want to make sure I understand it first. So as I understand it, we got a PDF, and it was 400 so on pages. And the yellow highlighted sections of the PDF are the accounts that are being drawn from to create this fund. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay. Obviously, you know, we're not going to be able to go through 400 pages 2 hours before our meeting. So if we go through this and we see that there's an account where the money's been drawn from that one of the 9 of us feel should be dedicated to the original intent, what is sort of the process for the administration at that stage?
I think we can have a conversation, including myself and the BA, if you have specific project priorities that you would like to dedicate funding for, and we're happy to, you know, take that into consideration.
Sorry about that.
Excuse me, we can form an ad hoc committee, James. Maybe
Sure.
that would be the best way to
To go on the Capitol, and I know they're setting up the meetings.
But we can have that.
Sure. Okay.
Here, we can have more,
Sure.
I don't want to say control, but we can have more hands on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be better.
Okay, that works on my end.
We want to make sure, because I know the 16th Street
Right.
project has
Park,
been
yes.
since I took office, and that needs to get done. It really does.
Understood. And, you know, in the meantime, we can see what's allocated within the Division of Architecture's funding for Park Citywide, and if any of that can be used to get the project in motion, get designs in place, et cetera. But, yeah, happy to continue that conversation separately.
Okay, great.
Okay, for final consideration and adoption of City Ordinance 22-030, Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
City Ordinance 22-030 is adopted 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, now on to our public request for a hearing portion of our meeting. First speaker we have is 5.1 Zach Aziz. Zach, are you here? I don't think so. Okay. Next, Rodney Henry, 5.2. Not here. Michael Newby. Not here. Michael. Gene Daly. Hey, Gene. Dean, time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening. It's pretty coincidental, and it's wonderful that this evening we mark the pay equity, or at least the transparency, so we can achieve pay equity. And it harkens me back to when we all had that, where there was that Women's Council, and I'd asked what had the various women that were presenting, what they had done to help other women, or what they have done to prevent men bullying women on the job. And each of you had stated that you helped them, and you stated different ways that you have helped women. I'm still very disappointed because I'm going to bring back another wonderful woman and refer to June Jones. As we all know, her project was suddenly erased and removed from the Jersey City Redevelopment Agency. She was not given any notice. The facts that were reportedly, statements rather, that were made about her and the project were false. And yet I have heard nothing from any of the women in front of me regarding this. It seems like there's a virtual vacuum. It's very disappointing to find that some of the words that were ushered during the meeting with the group of women who were in politics, that I don't know where they stand on their word, because I think it's a travesty what has happened to June Jones, and I really wish someone would say something and speak up on her behalf or act on her behalf. Getting back to the JCRA, reading their agenda and going to their watching their virtual meetings, I did realize that very odd thing that Jersey City had, or the Redevelopment Agency has owned 5 condos at 311 Washington Street, which is in the Powerhouse Art District. It's strange to me how we came about these. It doesn't seem to be clear how we own these, how this deal was struck, how long we've had them. And apparently the proceeds from this fund is supposed to help the housing insecure. Well, for the past several years that we have owned these 5 condos, no one's ever lived in them. Those condos could be used for housing people who have affordability issues. Subsequently, but we've been paying the maintenance on them. That to me is outrageous. And the fact that we just paid the maintenance for the buyers, and I should say, there are buyers for these now, these 5 condos. They were not placed on the open market. They were not on Zillow, they were not on Redfin. It was only certain realtors were permitted to bring their clients to see these units. This is not fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker, 5.5, Hytham Elgaway. If I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. How do you pronounce your first name?
Haytham.
Haytham.
Yes.
I'm so sorry about that.
All right, don't worry about it.
Your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Haytham El-Ghali, and my company Medusa NJ LLC is on today's resolution for a Class 5 retail dispensary and consumption space. I just want to take the time and commend Jersey City for taking a huge step in becoming an early advocate on a topic that touches me dear in my heart. Leaps like this is what my father would say separates the revolutionaries from the spectators. As a lifelong Jersey City minority resident for 33 years, I'm excited to have this opportunity to be a part of the change in what we call home. I'm thrilled to help change the stigma and assist in educating a new generation, leading us down a new frontier. After graduating from PS11 and Dickinson High School, I attended NJCU while residing almost in every ward in Chilltown. So you can only imagine the changes I've seen the city undergo. Long gone are the days of Playdrome by the old Pathmark and after-school programs in the Armory that kept us all out of trouble. Seems like everyone wants to sit with the cool kids in Jersey City now. I currently own a conceptual retail experience called the Clearport in McGinley Square, on the corner of Montgomery Street and Bergen, which I've been operating for the last 6 years. Throughout the past 12 years as an entrepreneur with businesses in Jersey City, my main focus was always bringing light and love to this community and making sure everyone knows who we are. Along bringing highly notable people and donating to various charities, I've helped organize, host, produce over 300 events and concepts in the city, including parties in Liberty Science Center, Liberty State Park, various bars that needed activations, and even a few municipal block parties for formal council leaders. The Clearport gives out about 1,000 turkeys every year, of which I want to thank my ward's councilperson, Mira Prinzari, and McGinley Square Partnership for always supporting. This resolution is only going to help create even bigger platforms and help escalate the amount of hometown TLC this city was built on. As a social equity candidate that has been arrested for cannabis in the past, I'm ecstatic to help create a safe space and learn to connect with like-minded people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next speaker is George Marquetas. Whoa.
Members, I'm nervous with public speaking, so I'm going to be quick.
Okay, George, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
My name is George Marquetas. I'm a lifelong resident of Jersey City. My family currently owns the Miss America Diner, and we have owned businesses in Jersey City for over 50 years. My partner, William Pena, and I are the owners of Jersey Leaf, and we are applying for a cannabis micro license. William is also a lifelong resident of Jersey City and qualifies under social equity certification. As with all my family businesses, we are committed to hiring Jersey City residents and always giving back to our community. We ourselves are financing this business with basically our life savings and no outside corporate investors. We are looking forward to opening on West Side, only a few blocks away from the Miss America, and I hope you guys support tonight's resolution. Thank you. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much. George, I just want to give you some kudos for the first time public speaking. You did great. All right, our next speaker is Philip Carrington. Okay, Phil, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Council President Vladimir, members of the City Council, I'm Philip Carrington. I'm at the right place to raise this issue or these issues. The Pfizer booster shot, also referred to as the BNT 162B2, is a secret government experimentation on Black people and other human beings. That's a statement of a fact. It is important to raise that issue because we should also note that the powers that be demands that you produce a document to prove that you take or has taken the vaccine. We should also compel them to produce a document to prove that the vaccine is not a human experimentation. And I raise the issue because when the Newark policemen were having a fight with the Newark mayor, I hope that they would have raised that issue. The government does not have a right to compel you to be part of a human experimentation. Let me give you the facts that I have, and they're all there for anybody else. September the 5th, 2021, Pfizer went before the FDA for approval, and they failed. Whatever they were using, animals failed, and they started using human beings. According to the New England Journal of Medicine, there are 3 levels of safety in all new therapeutic. One is the acute, next one is the subacute, and the next one is the long term. The acute is from the time the vaccine enters your body up to 3 months. The subacute is the time thereafter to 1.5 years, and the long term follow. In order for them to get emergency approval, less than 3 months, they have to be and still is using human beings. And I'm willing to challenge anyone, any place. I will place $5,000 or $7,000 cash if you can prove that the Pfizer booster shot is not a human experimentation. It is wrong for them to compel us to produce a document to prove that we have taken the vaccine, and they refuse to produce a document that says it's not. I need someone to prove that. It cannot be proved by no one. That's a statement of fact.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, next speaker is June Jones. I don't see June here tonight. Okay, and our last speaker is Chris Gadsden. Okay, Chris, your time is going to start on my countdown. You're going in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Good evening, good people. I just want to talk about just something that I've been experiencing, I guess, over the last couple of months. While I respect Hytham and George, and I'd like to have a discussion with you, I guess, later on about, like, what's responsible businesses, or what are these entities that are in the community that will eventually benefit Jersey City with tax revenue and will, I guess, help entrepreneurs, greatly here in Jersey City, because I just believe that folks should benefit from, I guess, cannabis in the market here in Jersey City. But my concern is that while we all have people making profit and doing things responsibly, we have a situation in our community where we have smoke shops and other entities that are inside of Jersey City that are selling illegal products, to our children, and they're not licensed to sell these goods. I've had many conversations with Director Flanagan. I've had certain smoke shops raided with Deputy Chief Florida, and it's something that needs to be dealt with. So the question that I have is, when is the City Council going to really consider about fines and stipulations on entities in our city that are illegally selling goods, whether it be in a corner store, whether it be these smoke shops? When are we going to shut these places down? And then another question I have, I guess, related to, I guess, cannabis and things like that. When are we going to have a discussion with the community about, like, what, who's getting licenses, what's the process, what's, like, we don't have any clarity on that. Like, we know that there's a board, we know that it's legal in the state, but we don't have proper education, So I just want just clarity on how entities are allowed to establish business. I've talked to many people. I've talked to Michelle Massey, because I've been speaking about, like, how these businesses are just popping up so closely to schools. Like, if they haven't been declassified, and a common drug dealer can still go to jail because they're distributing 1,000 feet from a school, well, how are these entities allowed to sell around schools? So there's so many gray areas to this that I just want further clarity so that we can keep kids safe, because it is a problem. And if I have to continue to go into smoke shops and point out that they're selling illegal THC or they're selling vapes that they're not supposed to sell, I'll do that. But I just need support in trying to make sure that kids are safe, especially going into these summer months when they're consuming all these illegal products.
Very good, Chris.
Thank you,
Very
Chris.
good.
Okay. That concludes our public speaking portion of the meeting. On to our petitions and communications. Any questions or comments on items 6.1 through 6.17? Hearing none. Officer Communications 7.1 through 7.4. Any questions or comments? There are no reported directors. On to our claims and addendum number 1. So council members are going to be taking a vote on claims and addendum number 1. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzeri.
Aye.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Claims and addendum number 1 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, on to our resolutions. We're going to be taking a vote on items 10.1 through 10.14 with the exception of 10.9, which has been withdrawn. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye. Aye.
Items 10.1 through 10.14, with the exception of 10.9, which has been withdrawn, are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. On to our next set of resolutions, items 10.15 through 10.24. Again, that's items 15 through 10.24. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
Aye.
Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
No on 1024. Aye on all the rest.
No on 1024. Thank you, and aye on all the rest. Got it. Councilperson Gilmore.
No on 1018. No on 24, and yes on the rest.
And you said no on 10.24?
Yes.
Okay, and yes on the rest, correct?
No on
10.18.
Right, I got 10.18 and 10.24 and aye on all the rest.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, Councilperson DeGise.
Aye on all.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, if I can just recap, items 10.15 through 10.17 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Item 10.18 is approved 7-1 with Councilperson Gilmore voting no and Councilperson Rivera absent. Items 10.19 through 10.23 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Item 10.24 is approved 6-2 with Councilmember Solomon and Gilmore voting no and Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, for the balance of our resolutions, items 10.25 through 10.29.
Sean,
Yes.
10.26, we want a table. It'll
So,
come to the caucus.
That's correct. We'd like to
okay.
do it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw item 10.26 from the meeting. So then, council members, we're going to be taking a vote on items 10.25 through 10.29 with the exception of 10.26, which has been withdrawn. Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
For 10.25, I just want to thank Lauren O'Brien from Climate Polluters for bringing this to our attention and for their advocacy in this space, and to Councilman Solomon for co-sponsoring. Aye for all.
Councilperson Baggiano.
No on 10.25, yes on the rest.
Did you say no on 10.25? Okay. And aye on all the rest. Thank you. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye on all. Thank you to Councilman Prinzary for sponsoring 10.25. And, you know, after we experienced the floods of Ida, a decade of different hurricane and other weather events negatively impacting Jersey City, you know, it's important at the end of the day to remember that there's people profiting off of climate change and are the primary impediments to real solution, and that's multi-trillion-dollar fossil fuel companies. So this resolution is aiming to build a political movement that is growing to treat the fossil fuel companies like we treated the tobacco companies and like we're starting to treat the opioid makers as corporate profiteers who have profited off of human misery. And this is the next step forward to holding them accountable. So I vote aye on all.
Councilperson Gilmore.
Aye.
Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Okay, Item 10.25 is approved 7-1 with Councilperson Bajano voting no and Councilperson Rivera absent. Items 10.27 through 10.29 are approved 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent. Okay, with that being said, and nothing else to be added,
I do have, can I make a, go Peacocks. I don't even know what a Boilermaker is, but it will be no match for the mighty Peacocks of St. Peter's University on Friday night.
Oh, we have to congratulate James. He had another addition to his family.
yes, congratulations.
Congrats.
As I said, my daughter Noelle has never witnessed a St. Peter's men's basketball loss in her entire life. They're 4-0 in her existence.
And hopefully she never will
That's right.
witness one. With that being
That's going to be
said,
80 straight national championships.
Oh, I love it. With that being said, and a positive note, do I have a motion to adjourn at 7:06 p.m.? Motion made by Council President Waterman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilperson Prinzary. On the motion to adjourn at 7:06 p.m., Councilperson Ridley.
Aye.
Councilperson Prinzary.
Aye.
Councilperson Bajano. Councilperson Saleh.
Aye.
Councilperson Solomon.
Aye.
Councilperson Gilmore. Councilperson DeGise.
Aye.
And Council President Waterman.
Aye.
Motion carries 8-0 with Councilperson Rivera absent to adjourn at 7:06 p.m. Thank you so much, Council President, members of the Municipal Council, all the professional staff that were here tonight, and everybody that makes this possible. Remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Have a great night. Stay safe, everybody.